grew up in Logan, moved to Maryland, came back, and I started working at the Philadelphia Parking Authority
Okay.
in the IT department. So I handle all the systems, the network engineering, and all that kind of stuff. The website, which is funny enough, is still up and running. The website that I did for them
Okay.
plenty of years ago. That's the website that's currently there.
So it's
So
like
yeah,
IT. It's like IT and tech. Was that your passion, or?
yeah, definitely, definitely would say computers. Anything with technology involved in it was definitely my passion. That's what I was interested in.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do was I wanted to translate that into a business. So while in college, my first business was doing people's homework. Right, so we always had these projects. Everybody had these projects. They had to do these little websites, and I did mine. And it was like the greatest thing to them. So one person was like, "Yo, can you just do my website?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that. It's gonna cost you though." Next thing I did like 10, 11 websites. I'm like, "Oh, this is a business right here, right?" So that translated to me to doing starting a web design company. So I did the web design company, and then I started adding on services like logos, and then I ultimately started adding the infrastructure and IT support. And I've been running that business from that started in my dorm room. I've been running up to this day. So we're coming up on 20 years of that business, which is 215 Media. I've been running 215 Media for almost 20 years now.
Oh man, that's dope. That's a dope story, man. I like that. My first business was doing people's homework.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Hey, listen, that's the hustle though. Listen,
supply and demand.
there you go, there you go. So how did you get the real estate bug? Where did real estate come into play for you?
Yeah. So more than anything, my passion, like I had a passion for IT, I had a passion, but my biggest passion I would say was for business. So I always wanted to start various businesses. But what I noticed and what I kept hearing was that, all successful businessmen or wealthy people, ultimately they had one thing in common. They all had some real estate investment, as part of their portfolio. So I knew early on that I wanted to get into real estate, but I didn't know how. Right. So further, as I mentioned, I came up and I got a job. I got a great paying job, and I worked and I worked and I was saving and scraping and saving. But in my mind, I had to have all the money to buy a property. And then, a few opportunities came and went because I didn't know how to act on them. So I actually met Janelle Wilson, who I think you might have. She wasn't on the show. I think you guys have engaged at some point.
Hmm.
But she basically put me on, and she waited till we had our first kid together to vet me and make sure I was sturdy. But but after she's like, all right, I think you're ready, and she knew that I had all the skills required for discipline, good financial background, and understanding, all the things that were required. And then she explained to me how you could actually acquire stuff using credit, using leverage. You didn't have to have $100,000 cash to buy $100,000 property. You might
Hmm.
need 20,000. So I had all the things going for me. I had a good understanding of business, discipline, credit. I just didn't understand the real estate part. Once I got the real estate part, it was all downhill from there.
Got you, got you. So now, you decide you want to get into the game. Did you initially start out as wanting to be a buy and hold investor, or how did you make that transition? Because I know before we came on, you were talking about how you buy and hold. Like your thing is buy and hold now. Was it
Yeah.
always that way?
Yeah. I saw I was I'm a business management major, so I had a background in finance. So I knew right away that tax implications of the biggest thing, the biggest deterrent for me for flips was the tax implications. Getting hit right up front, getting smacked with
Yep.
that capital gains tax. So once I learned about the bird strategy, and how you can basically, you buy this property, rehab it, rent it out, you get to keep the property, make money off of it, but still pull out substantial, pockets of cash tax free. I'm like, I was thinking, like, this got to be illegal. There's no way that we can be doing this. Like, now, like either it's illegal or they're gonna be shutting this down. So let me get in and get mine while it's still available. And I still, like, 5, 6 years later, 7 years, I still feel that way. I'm like, man, it's just like, how is this
Yo,
thing still
I love
allowed?
that. I love that because that's like so Philly right there. Like, yo, if this is legal, let me get it now before they shut this thing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Let me go ahead and get my pot down. Let
It's
me go
just
get my bag.
it's
yeah,
getting hot, man. It's getting
yeah. That's
hot.
kind of so Philly. But yeah, yeah. So